is the number of accounts, K is the number.
Okay, so A, okay. So assume the account is given in A. So have a long double S1 equal to 0 for I from 0 to n minus 1, S1 plus equal to A of I. I mean, the initial total sum is this. What will be the final total sum? Will be equal to the initial total sum plus for each week he will get weekly jackpot. So the final sum will be W into weekly jackpot. Correct? Do you all get that this is the initial sum and this is the final sum? And then just return A0 into S2 by S1. This is all the code that eventually follows from this observation actually. That the final sum is just proportional to the initial sum. And the proportionality factor is this S2 by S1. Since it's linear, the function, so the probability that you win the jackpot in this round is your sum A0 by the total sum. With this probability, you will get weekly jackpot. So the weekly jackpot is basically proportional to A0 because the denominator is a sum of all the values, which is going to be a constant for each round. I mean, at the end of each round, it's going to be a constant. So say, okay, what is the probability that you will be winning the jackpot this round? It's going to be A0 by this S1. First person wins the jackpot is A1 by S1. So on up till the nth person, n minus 1th person wins the jackpot is A n minus 1 by S1. But since this is a constant, it is proportional to A0 and the weekly jackpot is a constant. So the probability that you win is just proportional to A0, and so it directly leads to this proportionality theorem. I mean, whatever, this proportionality observation.
But if you win in 1 week, your probability of winning the next week is not increased, no? Because you get less.
Yeah, but you cannot predict that because everything is just random events. If you win this week, the probability that you win the next week is higher, agreed. But the probability that you win in this week itself is is a probability. I mean, you have to convince yourself.
Will probably encounter many problems in the programming contest where they will be asking the number of ways along with the solution. So like there is a problem called increasing subsequence. You have to calculate in an array the length of the increasing subsequence. Along with that, you are often given the problem that calculate the number of increasing subsequence. This is just one example. Rest in most of the problem, like there is a LCS problem, longest common substring problem. So you might be asked to calculate the number of longest common substring, dividing them or other postulates. So I'll be starting with the basic principle which I'll be covering. So pigeonhole, inclusion, exclusion, which I guess in the morning lecture there was a problem of rectangles which Somani was talking. I'll be covering that as well. Then we have spatial numbers like Catalan numbers, Stirling numbers, Bernoulli theorem, Bernoulli numbers, sorry, and then Burnside lemma. So let's start with a problem. It's fairly simple. I hope you all can read that. Given n plus 1 numbers in the range in the closed interval 1 to 2n, you have to find a pair such that xy such that x divides y. You already know the problem? So let others think then. And if no such x exists, then no such pair exists, then return a -1 or whatever. Just take a moment to think. I give you 3 to 4 minutes. I'll be listening to your solution. Yes. So before I move on to the solution, I'll be teaching a very basic theorem of counting. That's the pigeonhole principle. This theorem looks like pretty simple, fairly simple. Sometimes people think that such a stupid sentence is called a theorem, but it's actually very useful in solving few problems. So the principle is as simple as if there are n plus 1 pigeons and there are only n cages, so then there exists a cage where there will be at least 2 pigeons. It's fairly simple, and you can generalize it like if there are 5n plus 1 pigeons and there are 5n cages, then there will be a cage similarly like that, which will have 5. Friend. No, okay. Now you can try this problem probably. This particular problem will be using this concept of pigeonhole. Okay, you can tell the solution then.
Okay, so write any number n as two power s into odd number. Take out all the powers of 2 from it and write it as 2 power s into an odd number. Since there are only n odd numbers in range 1 to 2n, and you take n plus 1 by division over principle, for 2 numbers the odd part will be the same. In that case, the number with the higher power of 2 is a multiple of the number with a lower power of 2.
That's the correct solution. So what he said was that we can write each of the numbers like n as 2 to the power k into some p or some p. Okay. So each of the numbers we can write it like this, where p is an odd number. P is any odd number. So we are considering the range 1, 2n. So note that there will be exactly n odd numbers. So there are exactly n odd numbers, and we have total n plus 1 numbers here. So if we write in this notation, there will be one number, there will be at least one group in which there will be 2 numbers present. So it's like if we are considering this odd number p, there will be this set will contain p, 2p, 4p, 8p. Similarly for p2, p3, there will exist at least one of these sets in which there will be 2 numbers, and you can see that clearly each of the other number is the multiple of the first number in this, the odd number, the basic odd number with which we have defined this group. So this problem, you can, like whenever you encounter a number, you can check if any of the numbers of this group is present. If the cardinality of whichever group is more than 1 will be the answer, x comma y. And in fact the problem says that it's just x divides y, but then basically y by x will be a power of 2. That can also be proved. So finally we come to the principle, the inclusion exclusion principle. So before I move on to the general form, I guess in class 9th or before that, even before that, you have encountered with set theory, in which if there is a set A and there is a set B, and to calculate A union B, the cardinality of A union B is given by cardinality of A plus cardinality of B minus cardinality of A intersection B. This is a simple set theory which is being taught in class 9th, that given 2 sets, the union is given by the cardinality A plus the cardinality B minus the A intersection B. It could easily be proved by a Venn diagram, where this circle represents A, this circle represents B, and this is the common part, which is A intersection B. So when we count A plus B, we count this A intersection B part twice, so we subtract that. This looks to be fairly simple. The general form is what is inclusion exclusion. So for 2 sets, it could be proved by this Venn diagram. Even for 3 sets, if we do cardinality of A mod A plus mod B plus mod C, then we'll have this particular part, this particular part, and this particular part counting twice, and this middle part will be counting, which is common to all the 3, will be counted thrice. Thus, to get A union B union C, we'll have cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus cardinality of C. This part is counted twice, both in A and B, so minus A intersection B minus B intersection C minus A intersection C. But this particular part was counted twice but has been subtracted thrice from this, so we have to count it once, so we'll add this. So as a general form, it takes the general form is like if we are considering the subset, suppose there are n sets and we are considering I sets at the moment, then whether to add or subtract is given by -1 to the power I minus 1, and we'll simply calculate the number of elements in that particular intersection. That's how the inclusion exclusion goes. So yeah, now we come to the problem of area of union of rectangles, which Somani was talking in the morning. So area of union of rectangle is more or less the same as I was discussing this with the Venn diagram. This Venn diagram till 3 is easy to visualize. If I try to construct a Venn diagram for 4, it becomes difficult to visualize. The rectangle will do the same thing. If we, instead of that circle, I start drawing these rectangles, this will again signify the same thing. So you can directly apply this particular theorem, and so basically if there are n rectangles, you'll have to generate all the subsets that will be 2 raised power n. So each subset, like suppose there are 4 such rectangles and you construct 1 0 1 1, and it will involve A, C and D. So you calculate the area common to A, C and D, and likewise you can solve this problem. Of course there are better solutions to do this via line sweep, which he has already discussed. Let's give it a try to the next problem. Period means that it's a prime string, so it's like, suppose the string is AABB, or rather AB like this. So this string can be compressed and this can be written as AB 3 times. So the period 1 means that's a prime string. It can't be reduced further. And of course A plus B is equal to n.
See, when I'm subtracting f of n by 2, a by 2, b by 2, I'm subtracting the strings which have a period 2 and which do not have a lesser period.
Okay.
Okay, when I'm subtracting f of n by 6, a by 6, b by 6, I'm subtracting strings with period 6 which do not have a lesser period, so they don't have a period 2 or 3.
Okay, this is a reasonable solution. But do you expect the time complexity for this solution?
There are root n divisors for.
So it will be somewhat like sum of divisors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reasonable solution. So what he just said was that what we can do is that we'll consider all divisors which are divisors of A also and divisors of B also, and if they are divisors of A and B both, then there will be divisor of n, because n is nothing but A plus B. So in other words, if we calculate GCD of A comma B, so we'll be considering all those as divisors. I mean the subset of the factors present in the GCD. Now one of the approaches which he taught was, which he told, which doesn't involve the mutual inclusion exclusion in this, is that you calculate the exact number that f of a b comma k, that is f of a b comma k tells that how many strings are there with period 1 and length k involving some a1 A's and b1 b's. So we know the total number of strings. Total number of strings will be a plus b c a, and we can subtract